Well, welcome back, everyone. Sorry it's taken so long to get this next one out. And this time we're going to be looking at some of the secondary words found within the definitions of the words already put forth, as having these defined will help with better comprehension of the words where they were used. And we're calling this deception abounds. So police state, a noun, is found in Merriam-Webster, a political unit characterized by repressive government, control of political, economic, and social life, usually by an arbitrary exercise of power by police, and especially secret police, in place of regular operation of administrative and judicial organs of the government according to publicly known legal procedures. So we don't have police power in actually defined in etymology, but we do have police, and this as a noun. And it says in constitutional law, police power is the power of the government to limit civil liberties and exercise restraint and compulsion over private rights, especially to advance or protect the public welfare. Police state, where state regulated by means of national police, was first recorded in 1865 with reference to Austria. Police action in an international sense of military intervention short of war. Obstinately to correct lawlessness is from 1933. Police officer is attested from 1794 American English. And police station is from 1817. Okay, so police power is found in Black's Law. The power vested in a state to establish laws and ordinance for the regulation and enforcement of its police as above defined. Police from Black Law. The function of that branch of administrative machinery of government which is charged with the preservation of public order and tranquility, the promotion of public health, safety, and morals, and the prevention, detection, and punishment of crimes. The power vested in the legislature to make, ordain, and establish all manner of wholesome and reasonable laws, statutes, and ordinances, either with penalties or without, not repugnant to the Constitution, as they shall judge to be for the good and welfare of the Commonwealth, and of the subjects of the same. Did you catch that? See, there's another clue that they still look at us as being subjects. An authority conferred by the American constitutional system upon the individual states, through which they are enabled to establish a special department of police, adopt such regulations as tend to prevent the commission of fraud, violence, or other offenses against the state, and in the aid of to the arrest of criminals, and secure generally the comfort, health, and prosperity of the state. Notice it's saying state, not we the people, by preserving the public order, preventing a conflict of rights in the common intercourse of the citizens, and ensuring to each an uninterrupted enjoyment of all the privileges, not rights, but privileges, conferred upon him by the laws of his country. That inherent and plenary power in state over persons and property, which enables the people to prohibit all things inimical to comfort, safety, health, and welfare of society. It is true that the legislation which secures to all protections in their rights and the equal use and enjoyment of their property embraces an almost infinite variety of subjects. Does indeed. Whatever affects the peace, good order, morals, and health of the community comes within its scope, and everyone must use and enjoy his property subject to the restrictions which such legislation imposes. What is termed the police power of the state, which from the language often used respecting it, one was supposed to be an undefined and irresponsible element in the government, can only interfere with the conduct of individuals in their intercourse with each other and in the use of their property as far as may be required to secure those objects. Boy, that's a whole mouthful on that paragraph there. Okay, now let's look at welfare state. A noun is found in Merriam-Webster. A social system based on the assumption by a political state of primary responsibility for the individual and social welfare of its citizens. Who is the state that has primary responsibility in accordance with our government? Would it not be the federal government? I think it is. Number two, a nation or state characterized by the operation of the welfare state system. Welfare, a noun, is found in etymology. Condition of being or doing well, get along. Similar formation in Old Norse velfero, meaning social concern for the well-being of children, the unemployed, etc., and it's first attested to in 1904, meaning the organized effort to provide for the maintenance of members of groups, is from 1918, and welfare state is first recorded in 1941. Okay, welfare, a noun, is found in Black's Law. Well-doing or well-being in any respect, the enjoyment of health and common blessings of life, exemption from any evil or calamity, prosperity and happiness. Okay, that makes total sense to me. That's what it should be, I think. Arbitrary is an adjective found in Merriam-Webster's 1A. Existing or coming about seemingly at random or by chance or as a capricious and unreasonable act of will, an arbitrary choice. When a task is not seen in a meaningful context, it is experienced as being arbitrary. 1B, based on or determined by the individual preference or convenience rather than by necessity or intrinsic nature of something. An arbitrary standard, take an arbitrary positive number. 2A, not restrained or limited in the exercise of power, ruling by absolute authority, an arbitrary government. 2B, marked by or resulting from unrestrained and often tyrannical exercise of power, protection from arbitrary arrest and detention. 3, as in law, depending on individual discretion, as of a judge, not fixed by law. Synonyms are dictatorial, preemptory, high-handed, willful, imperious, and the other spelling of willful. Okay, arbitrary as an adjective in etymology, deciding by one's own discretion, depending on one's judgment, generally in reference to an authority or government. From Latin arbitrarius, of arbitration, done by means of arbitration, not regulated by fixed law. Hence, depending on the will. Also, uncertain, from an arbiter, a judge, umpire, mediator. Etymologically, one who goes somewhere, as witness or judge, see arbiter. In legal language was opposed to certus, fixed, established, which also meant placed beyond doubt, sure, see certain. And arbitrarius came to mean popularly uncertain, unsure. The legal and classical sense of at discretion of an arbiter or other legally recognized authority as opposed to be determined by fixed rules, is attested in English from the 1580s. The sense of derived from mere opinion, according to Brown, and uncontrolled by law, capricious, ungoverned by reason or rule, despotic, arbitrary government, is attested from 1640s. Arbitrary, according to Black's Law, means in an arbitrary manner as fixed or done capriciously or at pleasure, without adequate determining of principle, not founded in the nature of things, non-rational, not done or acting according to reason or judgment, depending on the will alone, absolutely in power, capriciously, tyrannical, despotic. Wow. Without fair, solid, and substantial cause, that is, without cause based on the law, not governed by any fixed rules or standards. Okay, next let's take a look at arbiter. 1. A person with power to decide a dispute, a judge. Here's an example. The mayor will act as the final arbiter in any dispute between board members. 2. A person or agency whose judgment or opinion is considered authoritative. Okay, arbiter as a noun in etymology, person that has power of judging absolutely according to his own pleasure in a dispute or issue. Arbiter, judge, directly from Latin arbiter, one who goes somewhere as witness or judge. In other words, an eyewitness. Specifically in law, he who hears and decides a case, a judge, an umpire, or mediator. From add to, bectere, okay, to come and go. A word of unknown etymology. The attestation suggests that becto was the original form, which sometimes became bito. Well, bito was regular in non-initial syllables, especially in Platus. Where bito occurs independently 4 times in Platus, it must be decompounded form, and that's according to Divan. The specific sense of one chosen by 2 disputing parties to decide the matter is from the 15 Foeders. And it says compare arbitrator, and we've already did that. The earliest form of the word attested in English is femme, arbitress, meaning a woman who settles disputes. Gaius Petronus, who was a friend of Nero, noted voluptuary, reputed author of the Satyricon, and an authority on matters of taste and style. Wow. Arbiter according to Black's law, a person chosen to decide a controversy. An arbitrator, referee, a person bound to decide according to the rules of law and equity, as distinguished from an arbiter who may proceed wholly at his own discretion, so that it be according to the judgment of a sound man, and that's from Cowell. In Roman law, a judge invested with the discretionary power, a person appointed by the praetor to examine and decide that class of causes or actions termed bona fide, and who had the power of judging according to the principles of equity, distinguished from judex, who was bound to decide according to strict law. According to Mr. Abbott, the distinction is as follows. Arbitrator is a technical name of a person selected with reference to an established system for friendly determination of controversies, which, though not judicial, is yet regulated by law, so that the powers and duties of the arbitrator, when once he is chosen, are prescribed by law, and his doings may be judicially revised if he has exceeded his authority. Arbiter is a non-technical designation of a person to whom a controversy is referred, irrespective of any law to govern the decision, and is the proper word to signify a referee of a question outside of or above municipal law. But it is elsewhere said that the distinction between arbiters and arbitrators is not observed in modern law. Okay, next, repressive, a verb as found in Merriam-Webster's. 1a, to check by or as if by pressure, curb. Injustice was repressed. 1b, to put down by force, subdue, repress a disturbance. 2a, to hold in by self-control, repress the laugh. 2b, to prevent the natural or normal expression, activity, or development of. Example, repressed her anger. 3. To exclude from consciousness, repress the memory of abuse. 4. To inactivate a gene or formation of a gene product by allosteric combination of at the DNA binding site. Synonyms include clamp down on, put down, silence, squash, suppress, crack down on, quash, slap down, squelch, crush, quell, snuff out, subdue. If those synonyms doesn't tell you what it means, then nothing's going to. Repressive, an adjective, is found in etymology. In medicine, serving to check or suppress, tending to subdue. Repressive, and directly from medieval Latin, repressivus, from Latin repress, past participle, stem of reprimere, hold back, curb. Figuratively, check, confine, restrain, refrain. See repress. Okay, repressive as a verb in etymology. To check, restrain, sin, error. To overcome, put down, subdue, such as a right or rebellion. From Latin repressus, past participle of reprimere, hold back, curb. Figuratively, check, confine, restrain, refrain. From reback. See re-premier. To press, hold fast, cover. Crowd, compress. Used of feelings or desires is from late 14th century in a purely physiological sense. Keep out of the conscious mind, keep in the subconscious. It represents that sense of a word first attested in English in 1904, implied and repressed. Repressive in Black's Law is not found. Okay, so next, attorney, a noun as found in Merriam-Webster's. One who is legally appointed to transact business on another's behalf, especially a lawyer. Synonyms include agent, delegate, factor, proxy, assignee, deputy, minister, rep, commissary, envoy, procurator, representative. That includes a lot of synonyms that should give you all you need to understand what an attorney really is. Attorney as a noun in etymology, one appointed by another to act in his place. One appointed. To decree, assign, appoint. From attorney, to assign, literally to turn to. A sense is of one appointed to represent another's interest. In English law, a private attorney, in fact, was one appointed to act for another in business or legal affairs, usually for pay. An attorney at law or public attorney was a qualified legal agent in the courts of common law who prepared the cases for a barrister, who pleaded them, the equivalent of a solicitor in chancery. So much the term of contempt in England that it was abolished by the Judicature Act of 1873 and merged with solicitor. In U.S., barrister is not used in the general definition, became properly attorney and counselor at law when presenting a case in court, simply counselor. The double T is a mistaken 15th century attempt to restore the non-existent Latin original. Attorney, as found in Black's Law. In the most general sense, this term denotes an agent or substitute, or one who is appointed and authorized to act in the place or stead of another. An agent, or one acting on behalf of another. When used with reference to the proceedings of courts, or the transaction of business in courts, the term always means attorney at law, unless a contrary meaning is clearly indicated. Lawyer and attorney are synonymous. In English law, a public officer belonging to the superior courts of common law at Westminster who conducted legal proceedings on behalf of others, called his clients, by whom he was retained. He answered to the solicitor in the courts of chancery, and the proctor of the admiralty, ecclesiastical, probate, and divorce courts. An attorney was almost invariably also a solicitor. It is now provided by the Judicature Act of 1873, subsection 87, that solicitors, attorneys, proctors of, or by law empowered to practice in, any court the jurisdiction of which is by that act transferred to the High Court of Justice or to the Court of Appeal, shall be called solicitors of the Supreme Court, and that's found in Wharton. Lawyer as a noun in Merriam-Webster's: one whose profession is to conduct lawsuits for clients or to advise as to legal rights and obligations and other matters. Synonyms include advocate, counsel, counselor at law, attorney, counselor, legal eagle, attorney at law, and counselor. Lawyer as a noun is found in etymology. One versed in law, one whose profession is suits in court or client advice on legal rights. Middle English law, see lawyer. Spelling with the Y predominantly from the 17th century, see year. In the New Testament, in the book of Luke, interpreter of Mosaic law. Old English, a sage, a wise man, advisor, counselor. And an earlier Middle English word for lawyer was man of law. Okay, lawyer as is found in Black's law: a person learned in the law, as an attorney, counsel, or solicitor. A person licensed to practice law. Any person who, for fee or reward, prosecutes or defends causes in courts of record or other judicial tribunals of the United States, or of any of the states, or whose business it is to give legal advice in relation to any cause or matter whatever. Okay, next, let's check out Freemason. According to Merriam-Webster's, it's a noun and a member of a major fraternal organization called Free and Accepted Masons, or Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, that has certain secret rituals. Freemason as a noun in etymology: originally a traveling guild of Masons with a secret code. Excuse me. In the early 17th century, they began accepting honorary members and teaching them the secrets and lore, which was continued into or revived in the 17th century, and by 1717 had developed into a secret fraternity of affiliated lodges known as Free and Accepted Masons, commonly abbreviated F&AM. The accepted refers to persons admitted to the society but not belonging to the craft. The exact origin of the free is a subject of dispute. Some, such as Klein, see a corruption of French frere, brother, from free Macan, brother of Mason. Others say it was because the Masons worked on freestanding stones, and still others see them as free from the control of local guilds or lords. Okay, and Freemason is not found in Black's law. Judge, a noun, as found in Merriam-Webster's: one who makes judgments, such as a public official authorized to decide questions brought before a court; b, one appointed to decide in a contest or competition; umpire; c, one who gives an authoritative opinion; d, a critic; and e, a tribal hero exercising leadership among the Hebrews after the death of Joshua, and as a verb in Merriam-Webster's. 1. To form an opinion about thorough, careful weighing of evidence and testing of premises. 2. To form an estimate or evaluation of trying to judge the amount of time required, especially to form a negative opinion about shouldn't judge him because of his accent. 3. To hold as an opinion, guess, think. I judge she knew what she was doing. As an example. 4. To sit in judgment on, try judge a case. 5. To determine or pronounce after inquiry and deliberation. Example, they judged him guilty. 6. Govern, rule, use of a Hebrew tribal leader. K. Judged as a verb in ET. 1200s. Examine, appraise, make a diagnosis. 1300s. To form an opinion about, inflict penalty upon, punish, try someone, and pronounce sentence. Also intransitive, make a decision, decide, think, suppose. To judge, pronounce judgment, pass on an opinion on. To judge, to examine officially, form an opinion upon, pronounce judgment. A judge, a compound of is right law. Root of dicere, to say. Pi, to show. Related, judge, judging, spelled with DG, emerged in the mid-15th century. The Latin word also is the source of Spanish, juzgar. Italian, giudicer as a noun in ET mid-14th century. Public officer appointed to administer the law. Early 13th century as a surname. Also, judgeman, from Old French judge, one who declares the law. A compound of is, right, law, to say, to show. To persons to decide any sort of contest. From the 1550s as one qualified to pronounce an opinion. In Jewish history, it refers to a war leader vested with temporary power, as in the book of Judges. And from Latin duus, being used to translate Hebrew shafet. Okay, judge has been found in Black's Law. An officer so named in his commission, who presides in some court. A public officer appointed to preside and to administer the law in a court of justice. The chief member of a court, and charged with the control of proceedings and the decision of questions of law or discretion. A public officer who, by virtue of his office, is clothed with judicial authority. A presiding officer of court. Any officer authorized to function as or for judge in doing specific acts. The term is sometimes held to include all officers appointed to decide litigated questions while acting in that capacity, including justices of the peace and even jurors who are judges of the facts. In ordinary legal use, however, the term is limited to the sense of the first of the definitions here given, and it has been held that the surrogate is not a judge within a statute providing for additional compensation to a judge for his services in drawing jurors. Nor are United States commissioners judges, although they at times act in a quasi-judicial capacity and exercise the power of a court, insofar as an act of Congress has conferred specific authority or imposed the performance of a special duty. Okay, and I think this is a good point to stop at, but rest assured there's much more to come. And again, I hope this has made you put on your thinking cap, even if none of the others have. Please also leave comments. Also, hope that these are getting more interesting. Oh, for all of you, I know a lot of it is dry and it's not very catchy, and I by far am not the best presenter. But as always, if you found this to be of any beneficial needs for you, then please like and share across all your different social platforms. But most importantly, with friends and families in other countries, as this is a global spiritual war. Also hope that these are helping all of you with comprehending how the word magic has been used to get the world to where we are right now. Yep, the words are truly important. Let us not make the same mistakes yet again in this ongoing war. May Father God bless each and every one of you who have taken time from your busy day to watch. Oh, all of you are in my prayers, and I ask that all of you include me in your prayers. Thank you, and everyone have an awesome morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Thank you all.